Once we've got our legs set, we're going to focus on our hips now. The hips are one of the most complicated joints in the body, just by the sheer amount of angles that it can turn in. So what we're first going to want to do, like I mentioned before, with the feet in parallel or out like this, make sure that they're nice and even no matter which way you have them aligned, because this doesn't allow your hips to externally rotate, so you look a little bit like a duck. That's not going to be the best position here, like ballet. So you're going to want to keep them nice and parallel. Then what you're going to want to notice is, where are your hips? How do they lie? Are you one that walks with your hips inwards, kind of curving your back like that? Or are you one whose butt kind of sticks out like this and walks with your hips back? Now, we're all somewhere on this spectrum here. And what we're going to want to do is find that even middle ground, so that when you're standing up, you're not stretching or tensing any muscles that don't need to be. So once you've decided if you're one who walks more out or more in, we have some exercises and stretches that you can do to help that. So if you notice that you're one who has their hips more out like this, more back like this, what's happening here is that you're stretching your hamstrings a little bit more than what they need to be as you're walking. So doing something like touching your toes or stretching that out isn't really going to help. It's just going to stretch your hamstrings even more. What we really want to focus on here are your hip flexors. Any type of stretch you can do to focus on your hip flexors will be nice. But I really like this one called the 90-90. I'll post a link that has a YouTube video that explains it better. But basically what that is you're going to pick one foot in the front and have it at a nice 90-degree angle. One in the back that's going to be at another 90-degree angle. This is going to be a very intense stretch for people who don't normally stretch their hip flexors. So you're going to feel it kind of at the outside of your thigh, maybe a bit here, because also your psoas is part of that group. And just gently try to feel this in your upper thigh, in your left upper thigh, or whatever foot is in the front, for a few seconds. And then switch to the other foot and do the same thing. So this should help you stretch out those hip flexor muscles, which are going to be the ones that are short if your hips stick back like this. Now, if they stick forward and you kind of tend to slump a little bit more, what's happening here is the exact opposite. Your hip flexors are quite stretched, but your hamstrings are really short. So this is going to be the best time to do any type of hamstring exercise, whether it's touch your toes, or maybe you're on the ground, stretching for one toe, stretching for the other, and then doing both like this. Of course, making sure to stay here for a little bit, really to allow your muscles to relax. It takes usually around 20 to 30 seconds at least for your muscles to start letting go as you do stretches like this. These two types of stretches will really help you be able to control those hips a little bit more, especially if you walk one way and don't quite notice, as we all do when we build up tension through our daily lives. So once you do that, try to find that nice balanced place where you're not too far forward, not too far back, looking in a mirror if you need to. And so your hips are right above your knees, which are bent, and right above your feet.